finally time for a ride video on the Bolt. I'm going to try and take advantage of this break in the rain and the wind. Try and squeeze in a quick video. At the moment I've probably put about a bit over 300 kilometres on the bike since I've owned it, registered. Done a little bit of riding on it. I'm trying to ride it as much as I can between the bad weather. You've got to get out early because it just gets so damn hot being summer. It's definitely a nice bike to ride. Very different style to me. I've never really ridden a cruiser other than a couple of minutes. Nice neutral riding position with, you know, mid controls. The handlebars aren't up real high. They're sort of the same bars you'd find on a normal naked bike. Pretty similar to my standard W800 bars. Probably a little bit more pullback on them. But the riding position is definitely different. It's the way you sit. Not like a normal naked sort of sports bike, or even my KLR. You sort of sit upright but your legs hang down. On this, your legs are nearly bent at 90 degrees. It's almost like sitting on a chair, but your arms are forward. It's probably normal to anyone that rides a cruiser, but it's a different position for me. So the bike's all finished, looks great and it rides great, so just time to enjoy the bike before I have to pass it on. I'd like to keep it, but this will be number 4 then. 4 bikes is a little bit too much for insurance and registration costs. I'd rather keep my W800 over this bike, just because you'll never own another bike like the W800. This is the road that I like to sort of tune on. 100 kilometre zone. Generally pretty straight. There's a few bumps in it though, but it's only a couple minutes from my house, so it's pretty good. Looks like there's a fair bit of rain out to my left. Might have to cut this video pretty short. Might not be able to go to where I was originally going to go to. Let's go over my thoughts on the Bolt. The Bolt as it is now, so that's a 2013 model, Australian model, that has Vance & Hines twin slash exhaust and Vance & Hines intake. I haven't ridden a standard one, so I can't really comment on how it sounds or goes as a standard one, but most people who are going to buy this type of bike are at least going to do an intake or an exhaust, preferably both. Things I like how it sounds. It is a bit loud, but the note in general is pretty good, especially on sort of the light throttle openings. It just has that nice thump to it, V-twin thump. The intake noise is awesome. Your right knee pretty much sits where the air cleaner is, and this one being a fairly open air cleaner, it sounds great. also like how the bike looks. As a standard bike, they look great. I love the matte colour of the R-Spec, but even the normal ones look great. I just like the minimalistic look. Not much use of chrome or, you know, polished pieces. I like that. I think the bike looks great standard. Usually when you buy a bike you need things done to improve its looks or something, but this is a cruiser, looks really nice. I like the braking. This one doesn't have ABS, but it's got a decent sized front and rear disc brake. Braked a lot better than I thought. When you need to pull up, I've got a lot of confidence in the brake. Clutch feels really nice. I love the motor. It's an air-cooled 950cc twin. Doesn't have an ugly radiator in the front like some of the newer cruisers have. It gets along nice. There's nice torque. Not as much torque as like the bigger bikes, which are, you know, over 1200s and that, but I don't have a problem with it. It's enough for a single rider. I haven't had a pillion on the back. It's got lots of nice down low torque, but it also seems to rev alright. That goes good enough for me. Like, you feel the front end come up like a little bit, gets light. I've seen a few photos of people on the back wheel. I don't want to do that, but definitely puts you back in the seat and your arms stretch out a bit. That's a nice feeling when you've done it. Gives you confidence if you need to pull away from sort of danger, or you're pulling out of an intersection. You've got that confidence, you've got the power to get out of the way or get onto the road up to speed quickly. Everyone hates the person who pulls out of an intersection and can't get up to speed in time. I like that the standard bike isn't really cluttered. It doesn't have anything it doesn't need to. It has just one central instrument cluster that just tells you the bare basics. 2 trip meters, which I like. I don't like when they only have one. When the fuel light comes on, it tells you how far you've travelled with the fuel light on. No tack, of course, which you get used to. You don't really need a tack to ride this bike. You just follow the torque. The only thing you don't really know is where red line is, but this isn't the bike you ride a red line every gear. Onto a few things that I'm not a big fan of on this bike. Although it was a good point, the exhaust is a little bit too loud. This is known for being a loud exhaust. It would be nice if it was a little bit quieter. You can't sneak around on this bike. You can't come home late, or your neighbours aren't going to be impressed if you come home at an ungodly hour in the morning. The other thing is, it does not have a helmet lock, which I like using because I like to ride my bikes everywhere. So if I'm going to get something to eat or go to the shops, I like to leave my helmet on the bike, and on this model there's nowhere to put it unless you want to leave it sitting on the mirror. That just sucks for someone to steal it. So I had to buy a little $20 helmet lock. It's just like a combination code lock that goes around anything really, around the handlebars. So I've got that sitting on the back shock at the moment, so when it's not in use it sits there. A little bit annoying, you have to have that. One of the other things is there's no storage at all on this bike, which is pretty pretty normal for a cruiser. To have the minimalistic look, there's no real space left. Apart from the factory toolkit, there's no other storage. What I wanted to fit was a little Tomcat compressor and a plug kit somewhere. I don't have that anywhere on the bike. So unless you were carrying it in a backpack or you put luggage on the bike, you sort of got a risk riding without any puncture material. So I have to keep the phone handy and stay in phone reception. The other thing is, out on highway speeds, I'm still getting used to the bike. I sometimes go for the 6th gear that doesn't exist. Would have been nice if 5th gear was a little bit taller, just so you could drop the revs a bit on the highway. Although it's not really meant as a highway bike, would have been nice to have the gears spread out a little bit further towards 5th gear, or have a 6th gear. But a lot of bikes in this size don't have a 6th gear, like the Indian Scout 60 doesn't. The other thing is there's no real aftermarket pulley change. I've read that there is one pulley that comes off a different bike that'll fit, but I haven't been able to find one. It would be nice to put that on with a speedo healer, make it a nice highway bike. Which brings you to the other thing is, you want to do long trips, fuel tank's a little bit too small. It's only 12.2 litres, so it's on the small side. It looks great, it's just that little bit too small. If it was a little bit bigger, or if you had an extra gear or a better space gear, you'd be able to go a little bit further for your fuel capacity. Just got to slow down here because it's been raining here and this road's quite slippery. What this bike's good for, I think, is around town. If you had to commute to work, you didn't need to carry anything on you, it'd be a nice bike for that. You can also enjoy it on the weekends, because I think this is a great bike on these sort of back roads. Usually about 100 to 80 k's in speed, so it's nice speed for the bike. I think the bike just sits nicely on about 95. It's just where everything just sounds good. In the corners it goes alright. I'm not real big on, full lean angles and everything, but it doesn't have much peg clearance to the ground, and there's no little knobs on the peg, so when you scrape, you start scraping the pegs. It's just nice, relaxed cornering. Of course, because the roads are wet, I'm not going to try anything crazy. I just fixed this bike, I don't want to try and fix it again. Try and outrun this rain a bit, get to a place that's under cover and see if it'll pass. So what would I do to this bike if I was going to keep it for longer? I would like to try some forward controls, maybe 4.5 inches forward. That'd just be a little bit more of a relaxed riding position. I'd probably get Ivan's ECU flash. I haven't heard a bad thing about that yet. It's supposed to improve the bike everywhere. The stock bike, modified bike, doesn't matter, it just makes it all round better bike. So I'd probably get that. and then maybe try and quieten the exhaust down a little bit, not too much, and that'll be it. It'll be a perfect little bike. Just gonna go and pop down here underneath this bridge. So if it rains, I should be okay. The other thing that's a bit awkward to me is where the key's placed, which is down near the triple tree underneath the tank. I've never owned a bike with one there, so it's a bit awkward. Okay, now I've let the rain pass, just waiting under the bridge. Head back towards town. Don't really like riding in the rain. It's not pleasant. You get soaked through, your gear stays wet for ages, and there's always the increased risk of falling off. So if I had the chance to keep this bike, would I think so. There's nothing that's made me think, oh, I could do better. It's a type of cruiser that I would buy again. I do like the look of the C-spec model, the more cafe racer look, but I think that's as relaxed a position to ride. You've got clip-on, so the levers are a bit further forward and I think a bit lower, and the seat's a bit higher, so you're starting to lean over a bit more. I've already got a cafe racer, so I'll probably stick to a normal bolt. It's good to have something that's a little bit different to normal. I don't know how many bolts are around my town. I haven't seen another one. I'm sure there's some out there. But something a bit different to the normal Harleys and the other metric cruisers. I'm not a big fan of them. They look a bit fake. This looks a bit more authentic, I think. So the plan with the bike now, ride it as much as I can. Try and enjoy it for the rest of my holidays. And probably put it up for sale soon, regrettably. Maybe I can find a way to keep it. I don't think my wife would like that. This was pretty much a project to own a bike that I've liked cheaply. It wasn't without its risks. I could have bought this bike from auction and it could have been bent, the frame could have been stuffed, the motor could have been damaged in the accident that it was in. I got lucky, it was only a little bit of cosmetic stuff. The motor's perfect, it just runs so nice. had a big help from people on the Facebook pages with information of what I needed to do to get the bike back on the road after it had been crashed. One guy even supplied me with a fair bit of parts, which is good because it saved me a ton of money trying to buy them new. Regretting the day that I come across a random breath test setup. I have to just go back to idle and coast through, or get pulled over and hope I don't have to rev it in front of them. This is probably the quietest you can ride it at the speed limit. So motor just pulls along so effortlessly. You can just roll the throttle on a little bit and change through gears, or you can just give it a stab at one gear and it'll pull you definitely over the speed limit. So I think that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully I got some decent footage put together and making a video that someone can understand. Not sure what the next video is going to be. It might be another ride video. Might think of more stuff that I've left out of this one. Till then.